Welcome back to AFTV, everyone. Welcome to the Starting 11 show. It is Arsenal versus Man City at Wembley in the Community Shield. A big round of applause for the two teams and the curtain raiser of the new season. Man City rocking up with all their silverware. I've seen it. They didn't even brought the Champions League along with them. We are here as an honorary invite for finishing second place. And of course, Man City swept everything out. It's always been this way. I see people complaining. Should this game even be happening? Arsenal didn't win the FA Cup. Look, we've won our fair share in our time. And I think, why not? We're here. Why not? Am I being too kind?
You know what? Can I just digress a little bit? Because
Before you do, welcome, Laurie.
Okay,
Sorry.
I've got something to say, you know. And that is, like, I do see where other fans are coming from.
I actually do.
I'm happy to be here, but I'm almost like the guest at that party that's looking around thinking, oh, I'm a bit fortunate to have snuck in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Do you not get that vibe?
Yeah, I do. I'll be honest,
Let's keep it 100.
Yeah.
If we'd have won the FA Cup and say it was Chelsea that was taking our place today, I'd have been pissed off. So I get it.
Okay, fair enough. And let's welcome Nick and Sharoy. Welcome you two as well. Back to AFC, been a while since we've done this. It's a competitive-ish game. I kind of want your take. I've been asked this question a lot, where you place the Community Shield in terms of importance, how much you care about today, what you need out of today. Let's start with you, Nick.
In terms of silverware importance, it's not up there, but it's good. We've had all these friendlies and they were somewhat competitive, and now this is our first chance to play real competitive football, if you like. Obviously, we're playing against Man City, who won everything, not everything, but won everything last season. So we've got new players. We just want to see where we're at and see how sharp we are coming off of pre-season and just final preparations, I guess. Final dress rehearsal before the actual season begins.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, what I would say, just touching on Laurie's point and what you were saying about whether we should be here or not, we've always said that it's more difficult to compete in the Premier League than it is to win a cup competition, right? That generally is the way, and that's the emphasis that people place on the league. So fair enough, if the team that doesn't win the FA Cup can't make it into this, arguably the second best team in the country is the team that finishes second in the Premier League. Yeah. So it is a good curtain raiser, right? That's what I'd say to people who say that we snuck in. In terms of importance of this, look, if it was us against Manchester United, us against Tottenham, us against even Liverpool to an extent, I would have said it'd be nice to win, but it's not too important for our confidence and momentum going forward. But we are going up against the team that pipped us to the title, the team that, let's be frank, when we went there in that crunch game, embarrassed us. That was men against boys.
And they knocked us out of the FA Cup.
Knocked us out of the FA Cup, have knocked us out of numerous competitions over the years. I think the last time that we beat them from memory was when we won the FA Cup in that semi. How long ago was that?
2020.
And we're talking about the manager that our manager learned from. But now our manager can't sit here and say, I haven't necessarily got the squad, I haven't got the tools, because he has been backed. I'm seeing all these stats online about Arsenal's net spend over the last half a decade being massive. That's where I place credence on this game. I now do not want to see this being another men against boys, yes, but it's City, because think about what that does to the psyche of the players. They'll be saying, well, in actual fact, this wasn't even that important in the scheme of the league or whatever, and we got decimated. Imagine what happens when we play them in a properly competitive fixture. That's why I want this to be us going toe-to-toe and showing what we're about, and that's why I don't really want much variety in terms of the starting 11 at all.
I think that's a great point, and I think everyone watching this and everyone on these sofas and every Arsenal fan will agree 100% with that. On the more debated topic about how important the Community Shield is, and I will just say flat out, it's not a major trophy to me, but it's not a friendly either. It's always had more bite and a little bit more competitiveness to it. This is the one thing I can't get over though. We sit here as fans or media as journalists and pundits, whoever, and we criticise players every week. Every week it's basically, you do something wrong, we'll overanalyse it to the furthest degree possible, and we'll talk about it all week till the next fixture, and then the next fixture they win it, and then we'll hype up to new. The players go out there, and correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I haven't seen a team in the last few years treat this like it's some joke competition. I've seen two teams go out there, genuinely compete, and when they win it, they're lifting it, and they enjoy their medals, and they take their pictures. And then when Pep Guardiola's won every domestic competition, and they're having their photo shoot at the end, the Community Shield is there alongside the other three they've won. So what I would say is, while I do agree largely with what everyone's saying about it not being a major trophy or anything to get overly gassed about, I do think we sometimes need to just think, well, if the players take it seriously, why shouldn't we? I do think that sometimes. And maybe I'm giving them a little bit too much credit. But I saw when we beat Liverpool on penalties a couple of years ago, when we won it and Arteta won it after the FA Cup, they look bothered that they lost it. And so, I don't know, I think sometimes we just bash around this it doesn't matter thing a little too much when it clearly does to some degree to the managers and players.
If you look at the Community Shield last year, if I remember correctly, it was people coming to conclusions about Haaland versus Nunes on the basis of that game, right? And saying, oh, Haaland's not going to bang, look at the sitter that he missed, for example. People talking about the implications of that on the title. So you can see that everyone who's watching this does place emphasis on it. I don't think either side last year was weakened, by the way. I think, as you say, both of them really went for it. And if you want to talk about, look, obviously City had the manpower and the skill, but if you want to talk about momentum, for example, this is a clear example about how if you start well, it can very easily translate into the first game week, which is what? Literally next weekend. We're not far off now.
All I know is when they rattled off all of Sir Alex Ferguson's honours when he walked out at Old Trafford for his final game, they mentioned it. And like I said, with the photo shoots, it's there. Like, again, I'm not trying to overdo it. I'm not. I just think sometimes we lose that perspective that we're always so critical. We always tell players almost what's important, what matters, but sometimes maybe we should see how they feel about it. But anyway, away from all that.
I think this is a game. This is a massive game for me.
Good.
A game of real poignance, and I think, as well as the Community Shield, the whole Arsenal, Man City or City Arsenal, right, is a burgeoning rivalry that I think is just below the sort of Arsenal Tottenham and Arsenal Man United. I think it's just underneath that. Really.
Already?
City.
Yeah.
On the basis of one season of us competing with them. That's where you put it.
I think it's a burgeoning.
It's about to get there, you think?
Yeah, I think in another season it could surpass those other rivalries because Man City are the best team in the country. I think
the world.
we can all agree to that.
In the world.
In the world, yeah. Even. And I think if we pushed them last year to a certain degree, we're getting closer, but we're still not, there
I also
yet.
think we owe them one. When
Exactly.
they got money, they took all our best players, and then they had the big growth, and they've beaten us to a Champions League, whatever. Yeah, I'm getting sick of them. Nice fans, the fans I know are, my neighbour when I used to live at home, big City fans, lovely people, but my word, I really want to beat them. I'm starting to get that kind of thing. Nick,
a question for you guys, actually. And this is something that I'll be interested to hear what you guys think. So, listening to a lot of the radio and seeing stuff on social media, there's a lot of fans, most of them so-called neutral fans, who are saying that it's a bigger game for Arsenal than it is for City. And I would probably agree with that.
Yeah,
what do you guys think?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, 100%.
I mean, look, you look at us coming second last year, going toe-to-toe with them for a £105 million player, bringing that player in, strengthening in other areas. We're the team with something to prove. They're coming off the back of a treble. They have absolutely nothing to prove. This will not dent their confidence. This could dent ours.
Yeah, I think also that people look at us as a very good football team, but I think everyone knows that our biggest weakness is probably the mental side. And so that's why losing games like this, especially losing games like this in an emphatic fashion, not losing a tight 2-1 or something like that, that's where people start to go, oh, Arsenal could be shaky because your biggest problems are mental issues, not necessarily footballing issues.
We've got a super chat here from Arteta Ballers, says, don't get why we are so obsessed with how important things are. It's like we're trying to protect ourselves from Twitter banter. I care about every trophy, whatever it is. Arteta and the players are the same. And then there was another super chat. Let me just get it up here.
Double entendre, that.
Oh no, it was the same one, apologies. Oh no, there's this one. Macron says, Nketiah is underrated. His per 90 last year would give him around 12 to 15 goals, and that's without consistent minutes. If he played in the Farmers League, not my words, he would have banged 20 plus goals. Big up Eddie. So okay, look, it goes into this big conversation now. We've got actually a poll with over 1,000 votes. Who should replace Jesus? 80% of votes for Trossard, 20% for Eddie. Of course, there's actually a third option in there, Mr. Kai Havertz. But let's get your thoughts, Nick, on the starting 11, what you want to see today. Rumours of a midfield 3 I'm happy with, for sure.
It's the 8 position I'm looking at. Who is going to start in that number 8 position? I don't really know what I prefer. They are both two untested quantities, right? We've seen him do it for England, but against what I would consider lower level opposition. It hasn't quite looked as good at the final stages of the tournament, which is not just him, that's the whole team. Kai Havertz looked very, very good in that position, as you spoke about before in your tactical analysis, but that was some seasons ago now. So I don't really know. I trust Arteta, obviously he sees them, he's brought them both in, and it's really rare for us to, we're not super big in the transfer market, so it's rare for us to bring in 2 players, both of quite expensive players, to battle out for the same position. So I'm just curious to see that. And then up top, I think I'd probably prefer Trossard, to be honest with you, than Eddie, which I know might strike people as a little bit disrespectful, but he's more versatile. And I think against a team like Manchester City, we're going to have to do that sort of chop and change that they like to do. And I think he's much more versatile than Eddie.
Yeah, sure.
What I would say is I think Arteta's going to be looking at this as, who am I more confident in to change the course of the game off the bench if things aren't going our way? And I think on that basis, Trossard is on the bench because I think he thinks Trossard can change the trajectory of the game if it isn't going our way, but he's confident in everyone around Eddie to have it going our way. And that's why I think that's why I think
though?
Maybe
2-0 down, we're lacking potency.
But if we're 2-0 down, in my opinion, it's not necessarily going to be because of Eddie. If we're 2-0 down, for me, in my humble opinion, I think it's because we get overrun in midfield, and that's why I'm actually more interested in seeing whether, given that I don't think Zinchenko starts and I think Tierney starts, I want to see whether it's Timber on that right-hand side, because for me, he's the most comfortable out of everyone who's fit at that inverted role so that we don't get overrun in midfield. Yeah. That's where I'll be looking today. Yeah,
I think, look, there are rumours that Declan Rice is going to be in the midfield 3 as well. Credit to Alex Goldberg, who was the first person who broke the news about Arsenal wanting Kai Havertz. That's a midfield I'd go for. Because, yes, we're still telling a lot about Kai Havertz, but for me, it's about, can we get back to last season and the levels we hit? And Rice is the closest stylistically to Xhaka in terms of doing what we did there. Odegaard can go and press. I didn't like watching that United game in the friendly, wearing this lovely kit of yours. And I saw Havertz pressing and Odegaard tucking in next to Rice. I just thought this feels so imbalanced. And we might get there as we become a team that has 70% possession and we rarely have to drop into defensive shapes. Maybe that can work, but for now, we're playing Man City, the treble winners. I want to see Declan Rice, that midfield 3, and I want to try and get back to what we did so well last season, Laurie.
Yeah, you're right. And I think first and foremost, the good thing is that we've got plausible options in those positions. But I do agree with you. I'd like to see Declan Rice a bit further forward in that midfield 3. And I do agree with you, Sharoy, that maybe not for the same reasons, but I think Eddie should start. I think that he gives you a bit more when in terms of occupying defenders. And of course, you've got Trossard as an excellent option coming off the bench. His versatility, as we spoke about, he can do a little bit more, create. Shooting is better than Eddie's, let's be honest. But I think in terms of a striker leading the line, it's got to be Eddie for me.
Really?
Yeah.
I shouldn't. Apologies, I'm going to be coughing out throughout this. I think Trossard is the closest to Jesus in terms of bringing everyone together. That's what I think. Like, I think if we're to get the best out of Saka and Martinelli, and by the way, there are rumours that Saka isn't actually available for this game, so let's wait and see what happens there. But it's just rumours, so let's
Mind
just wait
games
and
are
see.
starting.
I just think Trossard gets the best out of them.
I think also this is one of the few games where we're expecting not to necessarily dominate the ball, and so chances may be scarce. And if a chance does drop, even from a City mistake or something like that, and it's a 1-1 with the goalkeeper, who do you want to be there to take that chance? I probably edge Trossard for that moment.
He can do something out of nothing. He really can. He's got that Arshavin Cazorla kind of ability to go outside of the box, drop a shoulder, top corner.
But I also think he's just a better finisher. I think he's a better finisher than Eddie as well.
I don't think Arteta sees it that way.
No.
I genuinely think Arteta... The way we were talking about Eddie Nketiah when he broke into the team was, he's the fox in the box. One shot, one kill. When he gets a chance, it goes in. And I still think that based upon what Arteta sees in training and everything that he says about Eddie in press conferences, that's still the way he sees it.
I work rate as well.
I understand that, but I think that makes sense when we're playing against a team that we can create loads of opportunities against. In this team, you know, maybe I'm wrong and we come out and we batter them 5-0, but I don't think we're going to be creating a ton of chances like we will against other Premier League opposition. And so on that basis, our striker needs to be more involved in the creation and not just on the end of tapping in goals.
I agree. I think if we've got any chance of imposing ourselves in this game, I think we need Trossard. You talk about overrunning midfield, he drops in loads, Timber and Verts, suddenly got 4 or 5 players there who are keeping control of that area. And Man City are also bedding in a Kovacic as well and getting to grips with a few things. They've lost Gundogan, so they've got a balance to readdress there, which will be interesting.
On the other hand though, as we said, we spoke about City being one of the few teams that can surpass Arsenal in terms of possession of the ball, right? So that would imply that we're going to have to do a lot of pressing, a lot of running off the ball. I would argue, with reasonable justification, that if it's down to pressing and running and being aggressive without the ball, then I think Eddie gives you a slightly better option. I mean, I saw something yesterday.
I actually agree with that.
And they were describing Arsenal. I think it was some journalist describing Arsenal's style of play, and he said that I think I'm getting this right. I'm paraphrasing. They said that Arsenal's style of play under Arteta can be described as strong in possession, aggressive out of possession.
Yeah.
So if we take that to its logical conclusion, if you had to choose between Eddie and Trossard in that particular instance, I think Eddie gives you slightly more. As the game goes on and settles down a bit more, then I think you'll bring Trossard on, because like you said, I think he has the edge in terms of, well, he's a better technical footballer.
Go on, Sean.
I was just going to say 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, because I would say in terms of being strong in possession, Trossard fits the bill. In terms of being aggressive out of possession, Eddie probably fits the bill. And that's
I'm saying that we were likely to be out of possession a little bit more in this game than we would do, say, if we were playing, I don't know.
But Arteta's got to be careful. 'Cause, listen, I love adapting, okay? Even Pep Guardiola's had to adapt his team sometimes. I thought in the Champions League final, he was actually quite pragmatic in that game. So I'm all for that. But what would annoy me is if he went into crunch game at Tottenham 2 years ago, believing in his principle, we get slapped. Go to Man City, crunch game of the title race with Rob Holding, who doesn't play in a high line. But no, I believe in my principles. We get slapped. And then you spend another 200 million, and you got Declan Rice, and you got Timber in this back four, and City have played less in pre-season, so really there's an opportunity there to impose yourself. Oh, we're going to start Eddie because we're kind of not going to have much of the ball.
Yep.
Like, that would annoy me. That would annoy me if that's how he sees. If he sees Eddie as the better finisher, the better link-up, the running and beyond, he can offer something offensively, then fine. But if it is that, starting to be pragmatic, I think you're a bit 2 years too late on this. Now you've spent the money, let's go play our football.
I think what this whole Jesus injury highlights is the fact that what myself and a number of people have been saying from like months now is that we need another striker at the club. Because as much as I rate Jesus, and I really do, we have to be honest and say he's not what you would call a prolific goal-getting striker. You know what I mean? We're up in the ante this season. We finished second last year. We're hoping to go one better this season. We're in the Champions League, and there are several domestic cups we want to challenge for. We didn't do particularly well in any cup competition last season. We need a strong squad, and I do think we're missing a striker.
Just on that though, the more I reflect on last season, the more I don't think that we missed out on anything because of the fact that Jesus wasn't a prolific goal scorer. All of the games, the crunch games where I look at us, sadly we conceded too many. And that's what I've seen in pre-season this year as well. That's my concern. I don't think we lack goals in this team. I think if you're looking at Odegaard, if you're looking at Saka, if you're looking at Martinelli, if you're looking at Trossard, if you're looking at all of them, they can all score. I don't think we missed out because we didn't score enough. I think we missed out because we got a bit sloppy towards the end. We didn't quite have the depth when Saliba went out. We didn't quite have that sort of solid backup option in midfield, and we ended up conceding loads. We were too easy to run through there. And I think if we tighten up there, but we score a similar or the same amount of goals, I think we're in much better stead this year.
I agree. Let's talk about the rest of the team, because we mentioned Timber loosely there. A AFTV exclusive, thanks to Cecil, from Zinchenko saying he's back in training. We knew he was back in training, but it's up to the manager whether he's going to be involved today. I've got a sneaky feeling he's going to be on the bench. I don't think he's totally out of the squad. I think if this is half friendly, half final, then actually it's an opportunity to maybe give Zinchenko minutes if that kind of arises. Would you want to see Zinny play a part today?
Yeah, definitely. Again, we know he's going to play a big part in the season, and we just want to make sure that he's ready. Playing against City, the best team in the world, like you said, what a way to get prepared, even if it's not for a full 90, even if it's for 20, 25 minutes, that's the best way to get yourself up and running for the season, in my opinion.
I just worry about what's the situation in which you need to bring him on. If you need a goal, maybe, but then you might revert to bringing more attackers on. If you're defending a 1-0 lead...
We'll be 3-0 up, James. Come on, be positive. 70 minutes in, 3-0 up. Get the boys some minutes.
I predicted a 3-1, a 3-1 win. Oh, I'm getting a call. Let me just turn that off. I'm predicting a 3-1 win, which everyone laughed at me for Arsenal. I can't blame them. Last out, actually, in the Community Shield, FA Cup winners Arsenal versus Premier League winners City. We beat them 3-0 because all are going on the goals. So who knows? It's happened before. Any other areas of the team we think about that we're Partey looking in pre-season? Yeah, he'll get. He's looking likely to get the start there.
Yep.
Baffled as to Partey, honestly.
Really?
In terms of as in the discourse around him.
I agree.
For the vast majority of last season, I was sitting there going, if Partey goes down, we're in trouble because he is arguably world level. He's the closest that we have to world level in that position. He has a slight dip in form, and everyone just suddenly goes, nah, it's all right. Then rumours come out about him potentially moving. No, he can go. I'm like, are you mad? For me, that guy is integral to our success, and I'm so glad to see him starting. But we need him at 100% for us to have a shot at winning anything.
I think the difficulty is that I think fans got swept up in the Declan Rice thing. And I said, even on my video when we signed Rice, I said, he's not a better individual player than Thomas Partey.
Yeah.
He may give us more consistency, though, because Partey has missed 37 games in 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And so, it's all well and good. So on his day, yes, he is world class. Then he does drop some stinkers. We don't have that consistency. So do you take like a world class player that's up and down, or someone that's not quite world class but is very good that can give you that consistency? Obviously, hopefully we have both, and that's Arsenal operating like a big club once again. But I think we're so marred by previous seasons. We never expected we'd have both.
Yeah.
We always thought, well, if we've got one, we're not going to have the other, because we never seem to have
so
all the
true.
pieces at the same time.
You're right. But the minute the Declan Rice thing happened and there were rumours of a £40 million move between Juventus and clubs of Saudi Arabia were looking at Partey, you then start to think, Arsenal are doing Arsenal here, aren't they?
Yeah.
They've let and then they'll develop Rice, and we've got to get used to it.
Then Rice will get injured for the last 8 games of the season, and we'll go, we've got no cover. And it would be the same thing.
Havertz is starting in the 8 in pre-season.
Exactly.
I'm thinking, oh my word, it's really going this way. Then Partey's not on the tour for the first week. They go, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
But I agree. I want to keep both. And what I love about the Declan Rice signing, I'm very excited to see him today. He seems like the kind of player who relish this occasion, or at least I hope he does. And with time, I think we'll see him have big performances in big games. I think Rice will help get the best out of Jorginho as well. I really like Jorginho in pre-season. Actually, I'll hold my hands up, shoot me. I've really liked Jorginho since he's come to Arsenal.
I was going to say, you've been an
agree.
advocate of...
I think he's been brilliant.
I think he's
agree.
been fantastic.
Yeah, he's been brilliant,
He's been really good for us. And when he was starting with Xhaka, and I'll give him credit, away at Newcastle, they were brilliant as a pair. And Xhaka showed more dynamism than I think we thought he had. But Rice has real, raw dynamism, pace, power, strength, energy. The legs can go on for days, or he did look a little unfit in the Emirates Cup game. But I think that gets the best out of a Jorginho as well, because he can cover more ground and Jorginho can just do his playmaking from deep. So I think Jorginho's going to have a big part to play. And this is why I wasn't so sure when people were saying, oh, Rice here to be the 6. I was thinking, but Arteta likes Jorginho. He's going to give him minutes. So he's going to have to get those balances right. There's a lot of options now. This is how City have been feeling.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
this is what I
exactly.
spoke about earlier when I said about the important thing is that we got options. And I just would like to say as well, with the party thing, and I'm going to try and phrase. I've got to choose my words carefully.
I know where you're going with this.
Get the lawyers
But
on the
what
line.
I'm going to say is, I can't help but feel some of the fans became a little, how can I put it, frustrated, whatever, because there was some negative press around Partey.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go any further now.
Yeah.
Most people know what I'm talking about, and I can't help but feel that as soon as he had the injuries and the loss of form, some of the fans were already thinking ahead and thinking, you know what, probably going to go, or it could be time to let him go. And I think that kind of factored into some fans' assessment of Partey. For me, he's got to stay, and he's an important part of the club.
We've got the
to stay.
starting 11 in about 6 minutes, so we're going to find out. Let's just go super chats, and then we've got some messages from Mr. Arsene Wenger himself. So let's just go through super chats quick. Arteta's news says it's mental edge today unless Pep goes with a B team. I agree with that. I think it plays to everything you were saying. Dylan says, why don't we put Trossard on the left and have Martinelli up top, as he was originally a striker when he first started playing? Yeah, but I just think the way he darts in behind Martinelli.
And that will naturally happen at points in the game anyway with Trossard.
That's true.
Yeah.
If Saka isn't fit, which that rumour suggests he might not be, I think you could see Martinelli right, Trossard left, and Nketiah up front. But let's see what happens. Alex Smith says, hello everyone, great to see you all, looking forward to the new season. How far do you think we go in the Champions League and Premier League? I predicted we'll win the league. Call me whatever you want to call me. But
Why?
I believe we will kick on to that level this season.
Yeah,
I really
why?
do. Because I think Declan Rice is a massive player. I think Jurrien Timber allows us to cover in 3 areas. The way he was bombing down the right when he was playing as a right back, very Ben White. He's a centre back by trade, and he's got the pace and he's brilliant on the ball. So I don't think a Saliba injury should be as much of a problem. And at left back, he's so good on the ball that can he replicate the Zinchenko thing? I think Timber will be huge for us. I think Martinelli, Saka are a year older. Trossard, I think, will really fight for his place. I think Jesus is going to, when he gets fit again, I think he can get to 20 goals. I really believe he can. And I just believe this team will mature another year. Ramsdale with Raya, that competition's only a good thing. So I just believe we've got the squad to do it. And I think the squad, more than anything, was the problem last year. I don't think it was about the level Arsenal got. Arsenal got to title-winning level last year over a consistent period. So let's just see it out now.
It's interesting because, I know City now signed Guardiola, who's a very good player, but they haven't strengthened in the way that I thought they would have done.
They don't need to.
Well, you say that, but
I think
year on year, they're always looking to do that.
I mean, they've
that's the way you stay at the top in sports. You have to.
Window's not closed, don't forget.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think they're going to pull off something. I think they're going to pull off
I'll be surprised if they don't, because like I said, in this, you know what they say, if you don't progress and you stand still, then effectively you're going backwards.
Yep.
So James does make a good point though. We're strengthened, and
Champions League, I'd be gutted with less than a quarter final. Obviously, it depends, context.
We've got to get out of at least the group stage.
Yeah.
Oh God, you'd hope.
At least.
I'm seeing the James turn into Ty. I'd love to be Ty. Leave me alone. James is on. I'm not going to say. James is delusional. That's fair enough. But if I'm not allowed to support my team and be positive after a £200 million spend,
Listen,
isn't this what standards is all
Are you speaking
about?
from your head or your heart? Be
Bit of
honest.
both. Genuinely a bit of both.
So if you tell me you'll speak from your head, listen, man, I'm all for that.
The thing is, I think what James is saying is the logical conclusion. We came second, it was close, we've strengthened, but I think maybe the only thing you're not considering is how the other teams around us have strengthened as well. Yeah. Liverpool back in the mix, Chelsea with Pochettino as an unknown quantity, etc. So that's the thing. What you're saying is not super out there of we came second, we have strengthened in the problem position. So on a logical basis, it's not beyond the realms of possibility for us to win the league. It's not as outlandish as people are saying.
But very quickly on that, it's not just the teams around us, it's everyone else in the league. I think it's going to be more difficult to get 3 points this year. If you're talking about Mohamed Kudus going to Brighton, if you're looking at Villa on smoke this year, suddenly these aren't games where you can go,
You've taken the words out of my mouth, but go ahead.
That's what I mean. Everyone's talking about us and City, or even us, City, and maybe Chelsea, Liverpool, but
they're sleeping on everyone else.
It's these non-traditional teams now that suddenly could be top 4 dark horses. Who knows?
I had the same conversation on DR Sports. I was talking to shout out to Fuad and one or two others we were talking. And I was saying that it may well be that it's City Arsenal or Arsenal City or whatever, But I think you're going to find that the whole competitive nature of the Premier League has been.
And that does mean that City are just as likely as us to drop points at more grounds as well. So.
Well, sorry to cut you all. Arsene Wenger actually answered a little bit of this. Let's get his thoughts very quickly, and there is some news coming in as well with the 11. Let's hear from Arsene.
Lovely to see you, and your statue as well, man. You've been very impressed with your statue. Well, we was there when you unveiled it this week. How are you feeling off that outside the Emirates?
Well, it's a great honor, to be rewarded for my contribution to the development of a club, and I just worked always to do as well as I could for the club.
Can we expect to see you more at the Emirates this season?
I travel a lot because I have responsibilities to develop the game everywhere in the world, so I've spent a lot of time on the planes, but when I am available, it will of course be a pleasure for me to join back.
Last question, how do you think the boys are going to do this season? Arsenal, are you confident Mikel can keep us competing again this season?
Yeah, I would say not only compete again, we want to win it. From last year we got one information, we were close. We improved well the squad, so this year I think we hope all that we get over the line in the end.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we are 1 minute out from the official 11, but there is some breaking news according to Dom Smith. He says that Timber, Rice and Havertz all start today. Now let me tell you right now, if Saka isn't available and Havertz starts right wing, I'm doing a lap of honour. Because I have said he could play right wing for us, Havertz. I've called it. If I'm wrong, we'll forget I said it.
Wait for him to score first or play well. You can't do a lap of honour for him getting selected. You could drop a stinker.
Do you know the hours I put into these in-focus videos? Do you know the hours I put into them? If he plays right wing today.
Can I just say though, that if he does play, I'm happy to see that. Not because necessarily I think that that's our best lineup. It's because I want to see him play and do well, so he can, prove to the naysayers that he's
I'd like
going
to
to
see
be good in that Arsenal
if he's starting.
shirt.
I'd like to see him in the 8 or maybe the 10, and give Ødegaard a rest. Because Ødegaard is someone that I'm like supremely confident that he's going to walk into the season and perform.
What is his best position?
Who?
Havertz.
I don't know.
See, this
Does
is
the manager know?
conundrum.
By the way, the poll ended. 78% want Trossard over Eddie.
I'm not surprised at that. I was just thinking.
But Arteta might be laughing at all of us going, nice poll, mate. It's Havertz.
Yeah.
Let's see. We've got the City 11. Ortega in goal. Walker, Stones, Diaz, Akanji.
Strong.
Rodri, Kovacic, Bernardo, Grealish, Alvarez, Haaland. Yeah, it's a friendly to them. Yeah, they don't care. Yeah. Are you kidding? Look
Grealish,
at that team.
Alvarez, Haaland, yeah?
No, De Bruyne. He's on the bench.
Foden?
As is Foden on the bench. Fitz on the
I
bench
think
report.
the word friendly is an insult to Pep, isn't it?
Nathan Ake?
There's no such thing as a friendly as far as
Nathan
Ake
Ake wasn't in the starting 11.
Is he not? Oh no.
It was a Kanji left back with
That's
Diaz.
what
Stones
is
and
Ake on the
Walker.
bench?
What's that?
Is Nathan Ake on the bench?
I didn't see. I'm trying to refresh, get the Arsenal 11, but they're late as always.
Yeah.
Thanks, Arsenal. Appreciate it. We're trying to do a job.
arguably the two most intense managers in the Premier League.
Yeah.
You could put Klopp up there as well, but you know what I'm saying.
Klopp is intense.
But,
He pulled a hamstring celebrating a goal.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah.
don't see anything like it.
But I mean, let's face it, Arteta's super intense, and we know Pep is legendary intense. So there's no quarter asked and none given. They will be going at it today, and that's what we want.
One thing I'll say, I don't think we're going to see Balogun in the squad. I think it's quite clear that A, he's going to go, and B, he wants to go. So.
Well, listen, I've got a theory. It's no secret. I think that there's been a fallout between him and the manager. I think Balogun has done what a lot of young, confident, talented guys do, which is express a wish to play, and he may have over-expressed that wish, maybe in private or in public, maybe both. And I think Arteta said, listen, man, you know what I mean? Eddie's my
I don't
number
mind
two
him wanting
guy.
to go.
I was going to say,
I
I don't think he's in the wrong for that. If you're
No, I didn't say it was wrong.
Yeah,
I'm just saying that is the way that younger, confident guys tend to be.
For sure, but
No.
I think what he did last season, I know it's not the Premier League, but I think he earned, when you go on loan, your manager's going to say, here's what I'm expecting of you. And he may well have hit what he's expected or even surpassed what he's expected. And then he's expecting to come back and at least get an opportunity to
Yeah, I
show what
wanted
he
to
can
see him
do.
get an opportunity.
And, so I can understand any frustration that he has, but...
I perfectly understand.
It's not just going on loan though. He was about to go on a free, and Arteta pushed to make him sign a new contract.
Yeah.
And he would have had assurances when he signed that new
Exactly,
contract
yeah.
that this isn't just to protect your value. This is maybe you go out on loan, and when you come back, you get your minutes. He
Yeah.
might think, well, actually, your entire contract negotiation was disingenuous. I'm clearly not going to get my minutes despite doing what I did on loan. I could have had a slightly better move if I went on a free. And now look at where I am. I think that could be where the fallout comes.
However, and I'm glad we're having this chat because Arsenal are not posting the 11. Where is it, Arsenal? Here's why I do have an issue with Balogun. I don't think he's shown any desire to compete for his place at Arsenal, in my opinion.
But the last time he was at Arsenal, he wasn't getting any minutes. He wasn't getting any... He got
quite a
very,
bit
very,
younger.
very, very, very few minutes. And he'd get brought on very late, and he'd get brought on with 5 minutes to go in the Premier League, where most players, unless you're a super world-class player, are not coming on and scoring a goal. And so I understand... Oh, here we go.
Oh, why are you smiling? Why
Here
are
we
you
go.
smiling?
Ramsdale,
Yeah.
Yep.
not David Raya.
Yeah.
Ramsdale in goal. White, Saliba, Gabriel, Timber.
Okay.
Ooh, White at left back. Oh, right back.
Right.
back.
Timber left back.
Timber left
Timber
back.
Left
Sorry.
back. Partey, Rice, Ødegaard.
Bang, bang.
Havertz up top.
Martinelli,
Yeah.
Havertz,
Yeah.
Eddie.
and Bukayo Saka.
Saka's fit. Havertz in the
Havertz up
9.
top.
Havertz leads
Havertz
the
in the 9.
Havertz, number 9.
What are you saying, big man? How tall is he? 6'4"?
The RVP region. That's what everyone was saying, no?
So we were both wrong then.
Everyone was wrong.
'Cause we
Everyone was
said-
wrong.
Apologies to
Everyone
everyone who
was wrong.
voted in that poll.
Everyone was wrong.
Wow. Is this the whole...
And that goes back to, sorry to interrupt, that goes back to who you're saying about Havertz. What is his best position? No, at Arsenal anyway, no one seems to know.
What is Eddie Nketiah thinking now? He's thinking, well, Trossard performs pre-season. I think I'm up against him. Now I'm on the bench, and it's Kai Havertz playing in my position.
Is this the Havertz, the long ball, beat the press, get us out? Is this what he's trying to do?
And he's quick as well.
He's quick.
He's very quick.
I'm very, very, very intrigued by this. He hasn't shown an ounce of desire in pre-season to play Havertz up top. But what we did see, though, and we did it in the tactical insight breakdown of pre-season, was when Trossard was on the left and Jesus led the line, Havertz was in midfield. They alternated, so Havertz would lead the line, Trossard would drop in and Jesus would go wide. So he has occupied those spaces before, but this is leading the line, leading the press, and being the guy. Like, we're looking to him. We're not going to get that many chances.
Do you think that the manager may have dropped that one there unexpectedly, thinking that Pep is going to think the way we was all thinking it's going to be Trossard or Eddie, and he's thrown a curveball
Maybe.
in there and said, right, you know what, Havertz can play there. I've not seen him do that much this season, or since he's come to Arsenal, but let me try him in there and see how it goes.
I think it goes back to what James was saying and what I think everyone was saying about the sort of characteristics of this game. I think Arteta probably goes in there hoping that we have possession and we can play fluid football and create chances, but He knows that we've come unstuck against City before, because when that doesn't work, we don't have another option. And he doesn't want to bring that other option off the bench now. He wants that option on the pitch so that he can very quickly change things if it shows that it's not working that way. And that's what Kai Havertz ought to be if you're looking at his physical attributes. Let's see if he can do it.
I must say I'm slightly disappointed for Eddie, because I thought when I saw him lead the line the other day in our last game there against, I was thinking to myself, sorry, Monaco. The manager's probably done that as a prelude, knowing that he would have known that Jesus was struggling.
Maybe for the Premier League, maybe not for today.
Right, so I think he was put Eddie up there, made him captain as a prelude, say, look, go out there, do your thing. To be fair to Eddie, in a team of mainly non-performers that day, he was one of our best players, and he got a good goal, took his goal well. And I'm thinking, the manager's investing confidence in him going forward. And now here we are today.
The manager may well be investing confidence in him, knowing that he's not going to start him. So I need you to be extra confident, so this doesn't damage your ego so much. But to me, I think starting Havertz, we haven't seen him perform yet, but I think starting Havertz over Eddie is actually more positive. I think that looks more like I want to go out and win the game.
I like that he sees Havertz as an option up front, because we haven't signed a striker, and when we first signed Havertz, I kept saying, well, you know what, if this adds depth to the forward line as well, I'm really happy about it. Because he hadn't had a minute in pre-season playing as a striker. The same conversations came up, which is, well, we need someone who's a different profile, a presence, who can come in for Jesus. If Havertz is the answer, I know Chelsea fans will be watching this laughing, going, good luck with that, we'll see you in a couple of months. But if he can, then that position's been addressed, and that is a good thing too. At least that Arteta can see, or in his mind thinks he's addressed that position, is a good thing for me.
Yeah, and I mean, Havertz at Arsenal will have a much stronger foundation. I'm not saying we're a better team than the Chelsea team that won well, I do think that, but the Chelsea team that won the Premier League. But lots of Chelsea fans say they played for different managers, different styles. He will have a much more set foundation that are going to support him much, much more.
Very true. A super chat from O'Malley, and he's spot on. No Jorginho in the squad. So the subs are Turner, maybe for the last time. Tomiyasu, Kivior, Holding, Tierney, Smith Rowe, Vieira, Trossard, Eddie Nketiah.
No Zinni.
No Zinchenko.
No Reece.
No Reece Nelson. No Jorginho. And yet that's still a very good squad.
It is.
Respect to the under-19s, but do you remember we had...
and Vieira, So we got no one for like the 6 or 8 positions, I guess. They can maybe sit there, but
or you then get Havertz to drop in there and you bring on.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
that's the thing.
Or Smith Rowe, or you move Timber to midfield. You figure it out. Really.
What that does tell me, for anyone who wants a striker in this window, we're not getting one.
Yeah, that's true.
We're not getting one.
If
he thinks that Havertz can occupy that position and he's willing to do that against Manchester City and the curtain raiser, we are not buying.
Over Trossard, who did it last season, over Eddie, who played well in the last friendly. I couldn't agree more.
So Balogun not even on the subs bench.
Balogun's on his way out. His bags are packed.
Come on, he's posting R9 on his story in an Inter Milan kit.
I saw that.
We know what he's doing. And listen, I'm not going to get too mad at him, but like,
I'd do the same thing.
You're off. Would you?
Yeah.
I don't think you would.
I think honestly.
I think you'd quietly just let it happen in the background.
I think it depends. It depends on what Shiro was saying before about the managers. If the manager said to him, because where did he come last season in the rankings for Ligue 1? Was he second? Behind Mbappe?
Or he was up there. I think he was behind Lacazette as well.
Behind Mbappe and Lacazette.
He was top
so
3 or 4.
In his head, obviously, different people have yes men around them or realistic people. We don't know what the team around him is like. But if you're a young striker and you go, I've just gone to the league Mbappe's in, and the only person that scored more goals than me is Mbappe, he obviously can't think he's as good as Mbappe, don't get me wrong. But from that perspective, he's like, how do I not start over Eddie Nketiah? What's going on here?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, for me, it really is. Why did you push to make me sign that contract?
I alluded to it earlier, and I'm almost certain, and listen, I don't have any prior news on this. I'm not pretending I've got inside knowledge, but I think it's fairly safe to assume that, certainly in terms of him getting a place in the team, they've fallen out. I do agree with you, Nick. I think he's done enough in League One to be given a chance, and he doesn't appear to have been given that chance, let's be honest. And I think it's probably bubbled over. He's a young man, full of testosterone. You know what it's like. We're all young once. Well, I certainly was. Yeah. You guys still young, but
whatever happens, I wish him the best of luck. But don't.
No, but you know what it is. If you're young and you're full of confidence,
I want value for him.
Yeah. I think
you want your chance.
We know Arteta also picks players based on like mental maturity and mental profile more than just footballing ability. And if there is someone there that might be slightly better as a player, but is a little bit rash or doesn't lack that mentality, he won't favour that. He said to Smith Rowe and Saliba that they're going on loan for those seasons to develop as people, not just
Completely agree.
as footballers. And
Completely.
I remember what Saliba said. He said, well, I didn't necessarily agree with blah, blah, but now I understand why I needed that.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing. And people should learn from it.
Saliba also says, when I come back and I'm reintegrated into this squad, the manager does not speak to me. Arteta literally darked him for a week to see how he'd react, and then went over. You know, so he is quite literally psychiatrically assessing his players. Yeah?
And I can tell you, like, here's me acting like I've got access and sources, but when we were in that mix zone and Cecil was meeting all the players, there was no one more vibrant, more like just happy to be there than Saliba.
Yeah.
And that is so counter to the, I think, the
PR
media
around it,
storm that had blown up over, attitude problem, he wants to play, he thinks he's
Arteta can't manage young
cool
players.
guy, has a lot of fun. And so all right, let's just go through his final super chats, everyone. Then we'll remind you of the 11s. Alfred with a super chat, and some of these came in before the 11s. Apology. Says stop the cap. Trossard isn't as effective in the middle. He's better with the ball at his feet, running at people and crossing, creating. Well, he's not in the 11 today, Alfred, but I'm sure we will see it at some point. Jay said, what's everyone's predictions for this season? Are we fighting for the title again and going for the Champions League? If Arteta doesn't win a trophy, let him go. I don't think you let him go. I think it's context to everything. But
I do think he will be under immense pressure this season.
Dave Jordan says, you got your wish, Dave. This came in before. Start Havertz up top, RVP regen, look at his body. I think he's referencing a few, Universal Law says, Kai ready for offensive transitions. Got your wish, Kai leads the line. Sansa says, why does no one mention Nelson to come in for Saka? He's just had injury problems. That's the only reason, I think. And then that was it. That is all the super chats. Let's remind you of the 11s as well. Arsenal, Ramsdale in goal. Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel and Timber at left back. Expected to invert, of course, and do the Zinchenko role in this team. Partey sits at the base with Rice and Odegaard either side of him. Saka is fit after not making a single appearance in the Emirates Cup. Martinelli on the left and Havertz leads the line. Turner, Tomiyasu, Kiwior, holding Tierney, Smith Rowe, Vieira, Trossard and Nketiah.
It's a good team, man. When you read it out again, that is a good team.
It is a good team. I agree. It's a very strong team. It's got some presence. It's got versatility in it. I like it. Manchester City, let's just remind you one more time. We've got Ortega in goal, Walker, Stones, Diaz, Akanji, Rodri, Kovacic, Bernardo in the midfield three. It looks like with Grealish on the left, Alvarez and Haaland done. So it could be Bernardo right, Grealish left, a midfield two of Kovacic and Rodri with Alvarez and Haaland. So it could be sort of 4-4-2, maybe Alvarez dropping deep. By the way, let's just send some love to Big Steve. As I've gone on Twitter to look at their 11, he is on their official account, live with them, talking ahead of the match, doing pre-match build-up. So yeah, well done, Big Steve. And of course, he did do the box-to-box with Turkish. So in between this and the start of the watch-along, the show running up to the kickoff, go ahead and watch that as well. All right, do we want to do some score predictions or save them for just before kickoff? Do you want to sit on them a little bit?
Yeah, just before kickoff. Let me think about this.
We'll do it before kickoff. A big thank you to everyone who's joined us. We'll be back very shortly for kickoff, as we mentioned, for the watch-along. Well done, Laurie, Nick and Sharoy. We'll see you in a bit. Hit the like button, subscribe to AFTV, and we'll see you very soon.